Hey there, everyone. So today I thought that we would go do the 200 Tabtab daily, but because I got this hilted knife, I thought we would just go ahead and do it melee style today. And so I was at Guardian Village, so I thought we would just go out to this other area. They're a little higher maturity than up here. Oh, my map's being a little weird. Up here at Al Nahar, north up here, which is mostly young and matures the occasional old, the pretty rare provider. And we're just kind of circling around the back to catch where the tabs are, rather than try to cut through all the juveniles. And so I like doing the tab mission periodically because it gives anatomy as a reward, and that's a looter skill. And I'm typically all about missions that give looter skills or help you get more loot for the same amount of effort. Um, but tabs are extra good because a lot of times they'll have uh, relatively high markup drops compared to some of the other uh, level 1 and level 0 mobs. And we'll see what we get, but we'll probably likely get some basic leather extractors. Those are 150, 200% markup. If we get any of the tab hides, those are 900 to 1,000% markup. I mean, those seem to be pretty rare. But this will let us work up our Codex just a hair, and we'll get some anatomy. And then we'll get a smattering of random drops while we burn out this knife that we got in one of the instances. Oh, there's some basic extractors. Oh, there's another one. Oh, this is a provider. I'll take a few hits. Oh, there's a little bit of animal hide. I mean, we're not going to make great gains on the Codex at this point. 0.1%. This one's an old. Every few kills is kind of the all we can kind of expect on this at this point. Just because of how far along it is and how few hit points these seem to have. And we're getting some melee damage assessment because I haven't done any knife fighting since I hit the level 18 or whatever, or level 20 sword fighting, and they share the same skill. In fact, I think it was the swordsman. Let's see if I can find it. I'm not that high level swordsman. Ah, right there, 21. So, and I haven't really done much sword fighting since I unlocked it. I took some melee skill rewards as Codex for a second and bumped it up. And so we're just now filling in that skill for the melee side. We have it for the rifle side, for the range side, but we hadn't unlocked it until recently for the melee side. Maybe I should have went to the Al Nahar site. They'd be dying a little quicker. But I was hoping we'd get some hides or something out here with them being a little more hit points, a little higher maturity. I was hoping that we would get a little more extractors, a little more tab hides. Maybe something that we could use to craft a little better. But it won't really matter. 200 tabs dies pretty quickly either way. And if they want to mainly give us those basic leather extractors, I guess that's what we're taking. We don't have much control over that. We do have control over killing the 200 for the anatomy reward and taking the small boost to the Codex. And so I like to burn out the weapons I get sometimes on the planet. That was a nice hit for a tab. A little over 4 ped. And especially when I get the knives like this, I like to burn them out, especially if they're low level ones. Now, obviously, if I can't use them, I try to sell them. But I like to gather the skill up, and I like to use the loot I find on each planet sometimes, um, just to get more skills and to kind of see how it performs, I guess. I don't think you get any bonus for using the skill or the weapon on the planet you got it or that it belongs on. I just like doing it. That way, before I used to do that, I literally would have an inventory full of like random weird low level weapons or low mid level weapons that I just didn't burn out and I didn't really want to sell because they didn't have good markup or it was hard to find a buyer. And then I decided one day just to start burning them out. And so from there on out, I just turn it into some extra skill, especially because I'm not super specialized and only trying to hunt one monster at this point or anything to that effect. I'm just trying to grind up some skills and get a little better at the game in general. But we started with about 30 kills and we're already up to about 89. So that's a quarter of the way done pretty quickly. I kind of like this knife. The skills are okay. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to get this knife, but since I have it, I kind of like it. It seems to be performing relatively well. It looks like we're about to break it. Kind of getting less extractors here than I was expecting as well. I was expecting a little bit better mix. And I don't know if that's just because I seem to get them more at that other spot from the youngs, or if it's just that point in a loot cycle or whatnot, to where they're just not dropping very much, or it's the weapon itself has slightly lower efficiency than I usually have. Hard to say. A lot of variables there. We're just gonna churn through and finish out this 200 today. It'll push us a little bit up in the Codex. We won't get very far. But you can do this every hour, the daily resets, so it's super easy. It's 200 mobs, that's a fair amount, but not if you go up to that area, like I was saying, north of Al Nahar here, the Al Nahar Snow Mountain. It's basically all youngs and matures, and so you're not really encountering much of the way of these 30-ish hit point ones. It's all these little 15 hit point ones like this, or these 10 hit point ones like this. And I haven't ran much into the way of the higher maturities up there. In fact, I'm not even sure I found a provider up there. I know I've ran into an old, but it's pretty, you don't see them very often. And so maybe it might just be super rare. And we're down into the last third. You see, we've only got like a couple of percent. Oh, that was a reasonable hit. Oh, that was a real nice hit, almost a ped. And so I was trying to stay away from those guys over there that were uh looked like they were swunting. It never hurts to be a little courteous. Plus, we have 50 more to go. Well, 52, but who's counting? And sometimes I'll swant them like those guys over there were doing. And sometimes I'll just go ahead and burn through the 200 real fast take the anatomy reward. It just kind of depends on how efficient I'm wanting to be for the day. If you're swanting them, it takes, well, with my playtime and whatnot, it takes a couple of days, 2, 3 days probably to work through that 200 if I'm swanting them all. 4 or 5 days, depending on, I guess, how motivated I am. But this takes 30 minutes maybe, and then an hour to reset. So if I want to do this a few times to really build up my anatomy, I got that as an option. If I want to stretch it out and get the sweat and the most amount of loot, all of that, that's also an option. And any combination of the two together is also kind of an option for us. There's a lot of places that you can swat on this planet. None really have the returns that the Tabtab does based on the markup loot that I was talking about kind of earlier. But if you're just looking for stuff to swant, there's a kind of a wide variety of things that you got options for that all pretty much have daily quests except for that Coffis like I've been talking about before. And now we're down to the last 23 kills or so. We're just going to try and rip these out, go collect our reward. That was reasonable. I said 23 earlier, and it was 33. We still have 25 to go now. That's right. They'll go quickly. All right. Getting into the last few here, last 16 or so. Gonna rip through these, get our little skill. We won't, like I said, we won't get that Codex up, but we'll push it up a little bit, make it a little easier to get at some point down the line. And the loot wasn't amazing today out here by any stretch of the imagination. We did get 60 of those extractors though, and so that's not atrocious. Last 5 to go. Yeah, I think I've only globed on Tabtabs one time, now that I think about it. And I've killed probably 10,000 Tabtabs at this point in my career on this game, and I've probably only globed a single time. I don't know why that just occurred to me, but that's the end of the kill 200 Tabtabs. We're going to wait the 60 seconds, and we're going to teleport. It'll put us back at the revival point, which is right next to the place where we're going to get the reward. We'll grab that reward. You'll see that even at high skill, when I have 5,600 points, you still get a not insignificant amount of skill from this daily. Now, obviously, if you only have 1,000 points, you're going to get a lot more skill than I'm about to. I don't know why it always seems to take so long for us to teleport when I use this method. It's literally 1 minute, and it seems to drag on and seems like 5 every time. I don't know if it's that whole watch pot never boils philosophy or what's going on there. So let's wait for these. Ah, there it is. We were just waiting for those to load. Here's our mission terminal. We got the tabs, and we still got 0.59 of a point at, like I said, at 5,600 points. I'm still getting over half a point every time I do it. And so at a much lower level, you'll get a much higher reward number. It'll be the same value, but it'll just be more points because of the parabolic nature of skills. Hope everyone's having an amazing day. Stay epic.